Hi guys, it's Simon back from fitMK.com. So we've come to part 2 of our video. We're in chatting with Rob, and if you remember, or if you just watched video 1, you'll have seen that Rob explained his story in terms of how he had a very key point of where he realised that he wasn't going in the direction that he wanted to go in. In fact, he'd become a bit of a big bloke and he wanted to do stuff about that. So he spoke about how he sort of realised that point and then started to make a decision to go in the direction that he would feel much happier. So we've now come to the point where he's kind of gone out there and he's done some research and he's joined a boot camp, and that's kind of what he got into. But the point that I really want to touch on with Rob now is, I mean, I kind of understand whenever you start anything new, there's got to be a lot of anxiety or nervousness about going to an exercise class or a boot camp or anything like that. I mean, how was it for you? How did it come for you?
Definitely. I mean, I was absolutely terrified before going to boot camp. I was worried that I wasn't going to be fit enough, that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with everybody, that I'd look stupid. But it was just going to those first couple of sessions and realising that, you know, everyone's there for fun, and the banter and the enjoyment that I got out of it, which I didn't even it just got rid of the fears completely. I mean, everybody that I used to speak to and say, oh, you know, I want to get fit or I want to lose some weight, people used to always say to me, well, when you do sport, why don't you start tennis, football, why don't you do something like that? But for me, I hate sport. I hate all sport. I'm terrible at sport. I can't kick a ball, can't throw a ball. So I really didn't want to do sport because I knew that I wouldn't enjoy it because I've tried it before. So when I went to boot camp, it was really great for me because it was something that I enjoyed doing, that I had so much fun doing, that it took away that fear and that anxiety, and it was just a really fun way of getting exercise into my life.
That's perfect. And I think that's a really key point, guys. I mean, if you're doing something that you're not enjoying, it's really difficult to stick at it, and there's so many things that you can do that will be, you know, get you sweating, get you breathing hard, get you running around, and that can be football, tennis, rugby, but you can go to a gym, you can go and do a spinning class, you can go and join a boot camp. There's so many different things out there. I mean, I think a key point of a lot of what goes on is the camaraderie that you get with a group when you go training. If you're someone that trains by yourself and goes out for runs, that's fine, but you've got to have a lot of motivation to keep doing that every other day or week in, week out. Did you find there were a lot of people in the same position as you, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of people out there that don't want to just kind of go to the gym, and I've been going to gyms for years, but you get to that point where, you know, it's kind of boring, and you get to the point where I was going to the gym, even as I was getting fatter, I was going to the gym because I wasn't pushing myself. I was going along, I was going on the, you know, cross trainer, couple minutes on here, minute on the row or anything, but was barely breaking a sweat. And it wasn't until I started going to boot camp and really working that I realised, you know what, I can push my body and push myself much further than I thought I could.
Brilliant. So the next point really that we go on from here now, because obviously we've gone along to the boot camp, we've overcome the initial anxiety and nerves. You've obviously done a few sessions, been for a few weeks now. What other obstacles did you start to encounter? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I think there was 2 main obstacles that I had. The first was time management, and it really was, I always used to think, oh, I can't work out, I've not got enough time, you know, I've got so many pressures from work and home life and stuff. Sure. And it was a matter of looking at my life and saying, you know what, I need to make exercise a priority. That needs to be up there as a thing that I really need to do. I need to find time. So just looking at my calendar and saying, okay, I want to go to a boot camp on a Monday and a Wednesday. I'm not going to give myself any excuses, you know, I'll always be busy, but I'm going to go to those 2 boot camps, and that'll be an hour, 2 hours in my week that I'm going to dedicate to exercise, because that's going to do me good and I'm going to lose weight and feel healthier. And just rearrange stuff in my life and just think, you know what, I don't need to sit every night and watch 4 hours TV. I can live without that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, exercise is something that is going to get me to my goals.
And I think time management is a real key excuse that certainly myself as a fitness professional and a personal trainer and a boot camp guy, I hear quite a lot, yeah, I don't have time to go training, I don't have time to go to boot camp. And, you know, if it doesn't fit within your schedule, that's acceptable, but health has to be a priority. The reality is there's so many people out there that have busy schedules, busy lives, they have families, they have careers, and it's so important that you still find time for you and your health. Your family should demand it, if nothing else. The reality is you want to be the best possible version that you can be. Okay, was there anything else that kind of came up as an obstacle?
The second thing was just motivation and keeping motivated.
Of course, yeah, that's massive.
And just setting myself small goals, like going from, you know, red bib to white bib to blue bib, and setting myself little goals that I was going to achieve and tick off and do, really helped me keep my motivation and think, yeah, I'm going to go to that next boot camp because I want to try and be a bit harder and be a bit better and get a bit fitter. And thinking about those things and thinking about trying to eat healthy and stick with it, really just kind of try to keep my motivation up.
Brilliant, yeah, and again that's a very key, I think it's something that you need to recognise. Motivation will go down. No one's motivation starts on a high and continues throughout the course of any training program, regardless of whether you're going to run a marathon or whether you're just trying to lose some weight. You need to understand that there'll be points where it'll start to dip and you need to change it a little bit, and that could be things in terms of you look at your diary, you look at what you're eating, it looks at, you know, you could be getting bored with the exercise that you're doing, so you need to change a little bit of where it is going with that. Okay, right, so we're going to wrap up this part of the video now because there's still a third video to come of which we talk about a lot more things, and also we give you a bit of an insight in terms of the amount of weight that Rob has actually lost, which is actually quite interesting. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Thanks again for sticking with us if you're still there, and we'll see you in part 3 of the video. Thanks a lot, guys.